Hey everybody, Jeff Mackerlin here, and today I'm going to show you 3 classic Eric Clapton Cream era licks. For any of you people who follow my channel, it's no secret that I'm a huge fan of Eric Clapton, especially the Cream and Blues Breakers era. Some of the greatest guitar playing, some of the greatest guitar tones ever. One of the architects of the modern rock guitar tone, or rock guitar tone, a Gibson into a Marshall. And before we get rolling, if you like my channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps out quite a bit. I also have one of my courses on a super 75% off sale. British Blues Rock Masters featuring Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, David Gilmour, and Jimmy Page. Break down a lot of their styles, cover it's a really long course. I think you'll dig it, and it's 75% off using the link above or below. So let's dig in. Let's talk a little bit about the gear. So Clapton at this point was using a few different guitars. He was using the Fool guitar, which is an SG, 335 sometimes, of course, and earlier on he was playing a Les Paul, and sometimes he was using a Firebird. So today I'm using the Firebird. And he was usually playing, Stu, at this point in time, a cranked Marshall Super Lead or a JTM 45-100. So it's an amp this size, and this is a 1972 Super Lead, 100 watt. It is insanely loud, and the only way I can play it is through something like the UA aux, so it gets to be a pretty expensive setup. Now for this video, I am playing through the Universal Audio Lion. My friends over at UA sent it to me, and I'm totally blown away. All I'm doing is using one of the presets that comes with the unit, with the phone app. It's James Santiago designed it. It's the Fresh Cream setting. Now for the reverb, I'm just using the Universal Audio Delverb on the plate setting. If you listen to the original recording on Fresh Cream of Spoonful, I love the guitar sound. It's washed in reverb, and that's a plate reverb. And I'm just using these 2 pedals, so I'm pretty blown away that I get this good a sound with a preset. Now, if you want to get one of those pedals on your own, use the link below. I've got a link to the Sweetwater affiliate link. It helps out the channel a little bit. But you guys know me. I just play what I like, and I really like this thing. The tune I'm stealing some of these ideas from is the live version of Spoonful from Wheels of Fire. It's a real seminal record for me, and that recording is still one of my favorites of all time, one of my favorite guitar sounds of all time. It's just awesome. If you're not familiar with it, please check out the live Wheels of Fire version of Spoonful. By the way, if you want the tab and notation and backing track, use the link above or below. You can get that for free. Now, the backing track is basically like an E5. The overlying sound is going to be E7, but he's primarily using an E minor pentatonic scale. So that first lick is right off of the straight E minor pentatonic scale on the 12th fret. But here's that cool aggressive thing. So this, so I start off the lick by bending my D. I'm going to bend it up, and I'm going to get the unison note, the E on the 12th fret. So I'm bending D to E. And we want to get that rub, right? A really cool sound. That adds a lot of nice tension. So you can let those notes ring out on top of each other, or I can separate them. He does both. I would definitely recommend you practice both because they both sound a little different and they're both super cool. So here I'm doing down, down, up, down. So I'm alternate picking this lick. So it's actually a little trickier than I initially thought when I first started playing it. So definitely work on that. Now let's check out the second part of the phrase. I'm coming from that pre-bent note. This takes some work. It seems kind of easy, but it's actually not. So I've got this unison bend, right? So I'm releasing this pre-bend. to the B, and then I'm going to bend the A towards the B, fret the B here, and then my first finger comes up and gets the G, which is my flatted third of the scale, and tweaks it and resolves to the E. So I get this cool. So just get this together. And then what we can do is end with that big low E that he does just to kind of fill it all out with a trio, right? So we've got... I mean, just huge sounding, huge, huge, huge. A cool thing you can do, like Clapton does on the Wheels of Fire version of Spoonful, is you repeat the line an octave below. So we have this. Now the line's not exactly the same because we can't get those little bends, but we can play it as an open string lick. So instead of doing this, I'm going to slide, and he definitely does that on Wheels of Fire. Now this lick is still a staple in Eric Clapton's guitar playing to this day. So here, E minor pentatonic again. And I'm going to start with my B to D, hammer on pull off, and then I'm going to fret the A on the third string. Now fingering wise, I like to do what Clapton does 1, 2, and 3. I find it easier than my pinky. Now the other thing I like about this lick is you can bring it straight to the pentatonic scale like he does. Now here's something really cool and kind of obvious once I saw it. I learned this from watching Clapton and Michael Schenker, is if I have two notes on the same fret, so like this phrase right here, that's a lot of work for that third finger to get. So what I'm going to do is what these guys do. I'm going to do 1, 3, and then the second string I use my second finger. Much easier than... That's pretty tricky. Though tricky, you can get used to it. And so if I bring that same idea down the scale, here. So let's hear that. Now, of course, you wouldn't do, you wouldn't move it down like that, but that phrase works beautifully anywhere in the guitar. Just playing an E minor pentatonic scale using that phrase. Lick number 3 is a little deceivingly difficult. Let's check it out. Just 2 notes, so it seems like it's pretty easy. It might be easy for you, but I remember having to work on this one because it's really cool. Here I'm going to go to E minor pentatonic fingering number 4. Although I can do it anywhere, and I'll show you in a sec. Here I'm going to bend this G, alluding to my G sharp. We're bending up a little bit. And then as soon as I get towards that note, so I'm alluding towards the G sharp, I'm going to bend that G. And then as I go to fret the A note, I'm releasing the bend, so it's in unison. So I'm just repeating it over and over again, so let's hear it real fast one more time. So like lick number 2, I can start to move this to any position in the pentatonic scale, right? Well, why don't I just bring it towards the ceiling? How about a different position on the fingerboard? Now it works best with the notes in the pentatonic scale that are a whole step away from each other. For instance, But if I did it there, it sounds pretty bad, right? Because where am I bending that B towards? In the other notes, I'm alluding to notes that we commonly bend in a pentatonic scale. So the flat 3 to the 4, flat 7 to the root, 4 to the 5, and that flat 3 to the 4 again, flat 7 to the root. Once again, if I have that minor third, so like the E to the G, doesn't sound as cool. The thing about these licks are they're pretty ubiquitous now in guitar playing as a result of Eric Clapton. For example, that little move right there. How about? So I just put it together, right? I'm using that little phrase, it gets under my fingers. So there you go, 3 classic Eric Clapton Cream era licks and lots of alliteration. Pretty peppy party, pal. Just take your time, run through them. Go back and listen to Cream with Clapton. It's so good. Even if you're not a Clapton fan, you might think, oh, this or that about Eric Clapton. Listen to that era, and he was so good. He's still so good, but that was fresh. That was new. Fresh Cream. That was brand new. Nobody played like that before him. Nobody sounded like that before him. Nobody turned up a Marshall on 10 with a Gibson. It didn't exist before him. It's really important to remember. Once again, if you dig this, you probably dig my course, British Blues Rock Masters, a 75% off sale using the link above or below. Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and David Gilmour. Until next time, I'm Jeff Mackerlane.